Hi, my name is Zoe, and this is my dog Miso. A year ago, I decided to move to the countryside of Japan to pursue my dream of becoming a full-time artist. Here are snippets of my day-to-day life. I hope you enjoy. I've decided to make banh mi for dinner tomorrow. So at the moment I'm just preparing a few things. I need to prepare the pate just by soaking the chicken livers in milk overnight, and also pickle the daikon and carrot, as well as just kind of prepare the pork belly for going into the oven. So I need to leave it overnight with no cover so that the skin goes really hard and dry, so you get that beautiful crispy texture. So let's get into it. So first things first, I'm just going to peel and shred all this into batons, or if it works on my microplane, but I think it might just go a little bit too thin, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Got a little visitor here. You wanna play, don't you? No. Iruka. Little visitor. Hi, Misa. It's almost time for your walk, isn't it, Miso? Okay, so I have my not really julienne, it's pretty chunky, but you know. I've got my daikon carrot mix here. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of sugar to the mix just to draw the moisture out, and then leave it to sit for 20-30 minutes. Now it is time to prepare the pork belly. I got a 500 gram one for $13.20 or 1,320 yen, which is not too bad. It's 240 yen per 100 grams. So I just picked this up from my butcher today. I'm going to marinate the meat, make a marinade for the meat and the skin, and I'm just following a lady called Helen's recipes, so I will put her link in the description below. Now, because Helen's recipe did do this for a full kilogram of pork, I am just going to half her recipe. So it is 1 teaspoon of salt, so I'm going to do half a teaspoon of salt here, to 2 teaspoons of sugar, so I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of sugar here, half, another half, and then we have 1 teaspoon of 5-spice powder. So I'm just going to do half a teaspoon. Oh, it doesn't fit, so I'll just do it this way. A little bit more maybe. That'll do. Alright, and then I need a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then that is it for the meat marinade. So let's see that pepper happening. We can just use white pepper because I don't have a fine powder for the black pepper. Cool. Boom, done. So that is the meat rub marinade done here. Next we have the marinade, which is for the skin. So it says 2 teaspoons of salt, so I'm going to put 1 teaspoon. I am using a half a teaspoon thing here, and then 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, so I will just need half a teaspoon, and I'm just using this white wine vinegar. That's all I got. That'll do me. And again, just kind of mixing that in with the salt. Looks pretty damn good. Now it's definitely in quite a long and thin section, but you know, do what we gotta do here. So Now I'm just going to prepare this meat. Step, gonna get this spice rub that we made earlier and just kind of pat that over the top here. We want to put it everywhere except for the skin, so on the sides as well. Might just blot it up like so. Love a good blot. Oh shit, I've gotten it on the skin now. That was not a good plan. It's alright, we can pat it off with the paper towel. Alright, so that is kind of it. It looks pretty good actually. Just keep blotting it on. Alright, I think it smells really good too. It smells like that 5 spice powder. Smells delicious. Alright, so now I'm just going to get like a wet piece of paper towel and remove all the spice that I got onto the top of the skin here. Clean this skin up from that 5 spice powder. Oopsies. Okay, so I'm just going to transfer this to this little tray here now. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So there it is. It's gonna go in the fridge to dry out now. So I'm just gonna get my little vinegar and salt solution, and I don't actually have a brush, so she just said you could just use it like spreading butter on a piece of bread with the back of a spoon or a knife. So I'm just gonna do that all over the layer. So this is gonna go into the fridge overnight now, just as is, no wrap or anything. I want it to like dry the fuck out. Just wash these out under some tap water and then drain them in a colander. Next I'm gonna make the brine for the pickles. So I just have 1 cup of sugar here. Next I have just boiled this hot water fresh, and I'm just gonna add in 1 cup of boiling water. And then I'm just going to let this sugar dissolve. The sugar has completely dissolved now, and I am going to put in a cup and a quarter of white vinegar. And then again, just give it a little bit of a mix around. But this is just going to be our pickling solution. So I'm literally just going to pour it on top of this tub and then put it into the fridge. You can eat them straight away, but of course they taste better the next day, so that's why I'm preparing them now. So I just pushed everything in with a spoon and it's almost done, but it's just a little bit uncovered. So I'm just gonna top it up with a little bit of hot water, just so that they are all kind of submerged. So I'm just going to put this aside and let it cool down before I put it into the fridge. And in the meantime, I will start preparing the liver for the liver pate. I have some chicken livers here, and basically what we want to do is just put them in like a Ziploc bag so that I can pour milk to cover them, and then we're going to let them sit in the fridge overnight in the milk mixture. Apparently what this does is it gets rid of the bitterness and also just makes them stop being so stinky. Goes nothing. Little babies in. Oof. I'm someone that can't eat livers and stuff, but for some reason if it's in a pate I can eat it. Like this kind of stuff actually, even just looking at it now makes me a little bit want to throw up, but I don't know, I think maybe because when I was a kid my parents used to eat Latvian liverwurst, so for some reason pate is okay. Anyway, they fit into this small Ziploc bag really well, so I'm just going to top this up with some milk and then seal it up and leave that in the fridge overnight. Ta-da, we have milk. And I'm just going to cover them in milk. I think that should be plenty. Again, I want this to be like airtight. that's looking pretty good. My little milky liver pillow. Put you in the fridge. The time has come to start making my liver pate. So I have had these in the fridge overnight. So I am gonna just rinse them off really well in some cold water. I've also cut up 2 kind of small size onions because alas, have never found shallots in Japan ever. And I have 4 cloves of garlic that are diced up. So I'm just gonna rinse this one now and then we'll get to it. So I'm just gonna saute these until they kind of go a bit translucent, a bit fragrant. And I'm gonna add in the garlic too. Getting steamy in here. It is time to add in my livers. So here we go. Ooh, it's making me a bit queasy, but it sure tastes good. So all good. So I almost forgot one of the most important part, my black pepper. Ooh, hello. Chuck some of that in. Ba-da-na-na-na. And fish sauce. Hello. So, I don't know, I'm gonna just put 2 tablespoons. I kind of, usually I wouldn't measure it out, but I just kind of want to see what it tastes like at 2 tablespoons. That's why I'm measuring it today. Usually I would just like freehand this stuff, but yeah, no. It's something I haven't made before, so I'm gonna just go with the measurements of the recipe. It definitely doesn't smell like liver at all anymore. The fish sauce kind of killed any pong that was going on, so now that they've cooked off, I'm less feeling like I want to like dry vomit in my mouth, so it's a good sign. We're getting closer to being able to eat this. I don't know what it is about the internal organs. They just really just make me feel so disgusting when I look at them. Like, literally, I was even thinking about it before. I was like, am I going to be able to eat this? I really hope so. But I'm making it anyway. So here we go. All right, so I'm just going to cut one of these open and kind of check what the situation is. It's still pretty pink inside, so I don't know. I think it needs a bit longer. I'd rather have it a little bit more on the cooked side than on the raw side, seeing as this is something that I do not know how to make. I've also realized that I don't have a lot of butter. I'm probably like 80 grams short, so I'm probably gonna have to run down to the shop just to go pick up some butter for this recipe now. I think I'm at the point where it's like ready now, so I'm just gonna check one of the bits I did not cut. Ooh, I cannot check you. Yeah, that looks way better now. Well, there's still a bit of blood coming out of it. But I feel like if I just leave this with a bowl over it to kind of like steam itself, it should be all good. Like so. And then I'm gonna go to the shop and get some butter now while I wait for that to cool down. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I just look at all this like delicious sauce that has come out once I've opened it. Now it's pretty cool. I've just been to the shop and back, so I'm gonna chuck it in the food processor and give it a whirl now. It's in the tatch with a shit ton of butter. I haven't put any water in yet because I think that's just kind of to help it blend along. So I'm just gonna see how I go first. There was quite a bit of liquid from the butter and stuff I had in the pan. So I'm gonna give it a blend up and see what happens now. This is so thick, and it must smell good because little Miso down here, she's licking her chops, hoping she get to eat some too. Aren't you, little Miso? Licking your chops. Too many yummy smells in here, isn't it? Starting to get there. I might just actually scrape down the sides and keep this going a bit. I want this to be smooth as a baby's bum when I'm done, so I have no prior recognition to the livers that went into this. Are looking pretty good here, but I reckon I might just put a touch more water. It's a little bit thick and it's just not going as smooth as I would like to, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit more water and then see what happens. This looks so good now, like look at how thick that is. And it literally just smells like Latvian liverwurst, so all of my worst fears have been removed now and I can happily go on to eat this. Okay, so I've just finished making the pate and putting it into 2 little tubs, and I don't know why, but just the thought of like eating this bit off my finger by myself is giving me so many feels. And whenever a situation does that for me, I have to do it, even if I'm like really scared, because it's like when you're on the edge of your comfort zone is when the biggest growth happens. So even though I'm fine with eating it when it's in the banh mi, I've never just eaten the pate like by itself, although I did used to eat Latvian liverwurst on toast when I was young, but it's been a long time. Anyway, it smells really good, but it's just making me feel so many things. So I know I have to do it. So here we go. All right. Oh my God, it tastes so fucking good. That did not make me freak out at all. It's very rich, but because of all the garlic and all the butter, it's not like, a couple of months ago, I tried to eat beef liver at yakiniku, and I had like a bite of it, and the more I started chewing, the flavor was just like way too intense for me, and I was just like, nah, and I think I ended up spitting it out because it was just too much for me. But this, because it's got so much garlic and fish sauce and other crap in it, and so much butter, which is probably like my favorite food. So of course there's nothing bad in that, but yeah, it's really rich. It definitely tastes very similar to the Latvian liverwurst that I used to have as a kid. So I think if you had it on like just like a really thin layer on toast, kind of like if you have Vegemite, not that I've ever been a Vegemite person either, but yeah, anyway, got that out of the way, and I'm so happy because yeah, it tasted really good, but yeah, super rich. So I wouldn't like eat it with a spoon or anything. I would just put like a thin layer on some bread or a cracker or something like that, and then I reckon you'd be good to go. For everyone's least favorite part, all the dishes. It's time to finally cook my pork belly, and I'm so excited. The salt here has kind of like crusted on from the vinegar. I didn't realize I was meant to like leave some of the vinegar mixture so that I could like cook it today. So it's already got enough salt on there, so I'm just gonna paint some extra vinegar on the top here. This is kind of what helps to make the pork skin go all crispy and crackly and delicious. So I'm gonna paint that on there. That is all done. She did also mention that I could poke with like a poke with like a skewer or a fork and make holes just into the skin, but she didn't do it in hers, and the crispy skin still worked out pretty well, so I'm pretty happy to just leave it like this and give it a go. So I am just gonna flip this around onto its back and then put it in the oven for 20 minutes at 200 degrees. Okay, the oven has finally heated up. Let's pop her in for the first 20 minutes. And I'm just gonna put the timer here for an hour so I don't have to keep turning the oven on, because it turns off automatically after the time runs out. So yay technology, but also kind of annoying. There we go, and I'm gonna put a timer on my phone for 20 minutes. All right, I've just taken it out of the oven for the first 20 minutes, and this is what it looks like. So the next step is to pat this skin dry and then add more vinegar salt to the skin and pop it into the oven for another 20 minutes. I have turned the skin the right way up and put another layer of the vinegar salt on, and I'm just gonna put it back into the oven now, and we're gonna go for the next 20 minutes. Okay, I'm at the second mark here. The screen is just starting to crisp up now. So I'm just gonna pat it dry again, put my vinegar salt on, and it will be the last 20-minute cooking, and then gonna let it rest for 15 minutes after that. This is what it looks like. I've just taken it out of the oven. It did kind of fall over on its side though, because it is so long and thin, so I would recommend getting a wider piece if you're gonna do this. It was definitely a little bit tricky, but it didn't seem to get too wet, so I think it's okay. But Yeah, just gonna let this rest for 15 minutes now while I bang out the rest of the banh mi ingredients. The banh mi station is ready to go. We've got our pork that's just resting, chicken pate, garlic butter, daikon pickles, cucumber, fresh hot chilies, and I'm doing some coriander and a little bit of mint. I know that's not super traditional, but I do love any extra herbs, and we just had it on hand, so I'm gonna put a bit of that in there. And also our bread is just in the oven warming up a bit. It was a little bit soft, so just want to make the outside a little bit crispier. Just look at that pork, it's so juicy. I thought it was a little bit burnt on the outside, but it is absolutely perfect in the middle. I'm so excited. And my bread rolls here that's just resting on top of this bowl. I'm running out of space, but it is finally assembly time. Itadakimasu. Miss has come to investigate. You need some banh mi?
うまっ。
よかった。